All right, BP Hero, 2016 Eastons. Got the Baker, the Torq, the Kirby, and the Helmer. Hitting nothing but 52s here. I got all 4 bats in one video, so be sure and follow along. If there's only one bat in here you want to check out, you can kind of skip through and get to that. But I definitely recommend watching the whole video, checking these out. Some pretty nice sticks, especially for being new and hitting these 52s. I thought they all felt pretty good. So with no further ado, let's jump into the action. All right, so kicking things off with the 2016 Baker, the same 2-piece, 13.5-inch balanced barrel, and U-Trip NSA stamps. Same thing as last year's bat. The one thing that stood out to me compared to last year's, though, was this seemed to feel way better early on. Last year's model was pretty tight out of the wrapper. This didn't feel anything like that. Even hitting these 52s, it still managed to perform pretty well on a fairly humid day. I was able to squeak one out with my last swing of the round here, not even really trying to, just trying to barrel everything up and get a good feel for this bat. And the one thing that I noticed was this feels a lot like the 2013 B1 as far as like the weighting goes. Those had a little bit of an inload to them, but they were still considered balanced compared to, the Helmer and, things like that. And that's kind of fits right up this alley here with that as well, in my opinion. Nothing overwhelming by any means, but compared to a truly balanced bat, and especially last year's, this did have a slight bit of inload to it to make it feel pretty stinking good. With the bigger barrel and having just that little bit of inload, I ended up enjoying this bat quite a bit. I would really like to see what this would be like when it breaks in. So if you're interested in one of these, buy it, give it a little time, and I bet you're going to enjoy it. Jumping right into the next order of business here. This is the 2016 Mako Torq 2-piece TCT 12-inch barrel inloaded with the same Torq 360 spinning handle as last year's model. One thing I noticed right away with this is the spinning handle was way looser than it was last year. Tape it down. This is kind of a sales pitch gimmick thing to fix a hole in a swing. I'm not saying that they don't have a good idea there, because they definitely do, but if you're relying on this bat to help your swing, you need to fix your swing. Bottom line. I'm just going to call it for what it is. With it being looser, you could definitely feel like the inside part of the handle, you could feel it clicking back and forth. Inside of the spinning part of the handle, did not like that at all. If you were to take this down, this would be an awesome bat. It felt good, felt just a tad stiffer than last year's Torq, but overall, this was definitely a pretty good one. Had a good feel to it. Inload was perfect. And, outside of that, there's really nothing more I can say other than tape the stupid handle down, and you'll have a really good bat here. Moving on, got the 2016 Scott Kirby U-Trip, the same 2-piece, 12-inch barrel, inloaded, with the NSA and U-Trip stamps. Same specs as last year's model with the SIC handle, IMX barrel. I do feel like this maybe had a smidge more inload. The one I gamed last year and I fell in love with was a 28, and this was a 27, and had a pretty decent inload to it. Really easy to get behind the ball and hit one well with this, though, just because of that inload. You just let that inload work for you, and this thing felt pretty good. The same thing as the Torq. Little stiffer. Performance didn't feel bad. Just the feedback was just a little bit stiffer than I felt last year's was. But outside of that, this bat performed pretty well. Was able to control it, drive some gaps, and like I said, just let the inload do the work, and this bat will treat you well. All right, and to finish things up, we got the 2016 Helmer. This is the two-piece SIC handle, 12-inch in-loaded TCT barrel with the NSA and U-trip stamps, as the rest of these. This is basically supposed to be a Torq without the twisting handle. You know, last year Brett Helmer's bat was the Torq. This year he's basically got that without the spinning handle. This was supposed to have the CXN0 technology, which is supposed to give a little less feedback, but I had to ask around to figure out what that was all about. So it was nothing that really stuck out at me right away. Just a good soft barrel, just like the Torq. Just maybe, if anything, felt a little more broken in just because of the less feedback. I don't know. I honestly think that might just be in my head after knowing what the CXN0 was. But this also had more inload than the Torq. The Torq was a standard 27. These are stickered as a 27.5. But this thing felt really good. Really easy to get behind the ball. Same as the Kirby. Once you get that inload going, man, it just does the work. I hit the long ball of the day with this bat. So, I mean, performance is definitely there. This ball ended up in the parking lot. So that's a pretty good shot, especially for a brand new Easton hitting 52s on a muggy day. I'll definitely take that. Would really be interested to see what one of these would do with 500 or 600 swings on it. I can imagine it'd probably be a pretty stinking good bat. With all that being said, thanks for stopping in and checking out this video. You can subscribe to the channel. Always more stuff coming. Like this, share it around, and you can comment where it's posted with anything you got to say, any questions, or anything like that. Thanks, everyone.
Brought to you by Castle Sports.